So Star Wars Battlefront 2, a game that's near and dear to my heart, a game I've been playing since day one, back in the beta, all the way through, even after they said they were going to stop supporting the game. I've been playing it constantly every single day. As a player that loves this game so much, it seems that Battlefront 2 is had a massive resurgence to them. Obviously coming off the back of May the 4th, Andor series, a re-release of Revenge of the Sith in cinemas. This game is everywhere at the moment. It's trending all over Twitter. The player base on Steam, on PlayStation Store, on Xbox, has been fantastic. The lobbies are full, and honestly, like, it just, as somebody who loves this game so much, it is so good to finally see that the game's getting a bit more appreciation, because it never really should have stopped being supported by EA. They made a massive error, and obviously, you know, they're not going to return to this game, of course, but just to see players back on this game is so good. You know, obviously at the moment there's a hashtag for, you know, Battlefront 3. Everybody wanted it. We've had an actor from Andor who's come forward and said we need Battlefront 3. You know, loads of different people are coming forward and saying that it's all over everything. Any sort of announcement for games or on Star Wars, on Lucasfilm's tweets, it's all about Battlefront 3. The memes are coming through. You know, we're seeing them on TikTok, we're seeing them on everything, and it's just so good to see that there is a real desire for this game. I mean, as I said, I played this game a ridiculous amount of time. I think before Fortnite, this was the main game of the channel. I mean, me and Alicia especially played this game religiously for years and years and years. As I said, even when it looked like the game was gone, and then when, you know, we started to get content back for the game, and unfortunately when they decided to cut content, I've always been playing this game and a massive fan of it. So it's amazing to see the lobby so full. You know, I get into any sort of mode really at the moment, and I'm getting in games. And if we can continue to basically just keep going with this, you know, the memes are flooding everywhere. If everybody can keep getting behind it, surely somebody, I don't know who the developer would be, but Lucasfilm surely needs to take note and see that we deserve, as Star Wars fans, a proper multiplayer game. Because, you know, as well as, you know, I love the Jedi Fallen Order games, they're great, and there's, you know, there's a load of new games that are coming out for Star Wars and things that are happening that are, you know, exciting. But we haven't got a proper multiplayer game, and Star Wars should have one. You know, it's that type of franchise. Battlefront's shown that. It's been a great game for years, and it is a weird feeling at the moment as somebody that's been playing this game since day one and has continued to stick with it when a lot of people left. It's interesting to see everybody jumping back in, and, you know, I'm happy for that. I'm happy that people are jumping back on in the game and they're playing the game, they're enjoying it. But, you know, I've been playing this game for so long, and there's so many people I know. I still watch people that will be uploading it and playing it, and for all those people that have stuck with this game, it's just such a great time right now. All we can do is keep spreading the message of basically we want a new Battlefront game, Battlefront 3, or, you know, a developer to come in and make a new Battlefront game. I mean, it's just, it still frustrates me to this day that we basically had, you know, the game in the best place possible when they stopped supporting it. You know, they could have thought about it and thought, you know, if it's gonna stay like free to pay and play in the pass and things like that, why can't we monetize it with, you know, like seasonal passes and cosmetic items? You look at Overwatch, you look at Fortnite, you look at what they can do, and they aren't Star Wars. You know, as much as Star Wars as a franchise has definitely taken a hit over the recent years, or for the last 10 years, I'd say, since Disney took it over, it's still a massive franchise, and it's got so many fans that would chuck, you know, stupid amount of money on different cosmetics, a pass every, you know, season with new maps. Like, this is the thing, they really could have taken advantage, EA, of the player base they had. We could have had a great Star Wars game, and they could have made some money, which is obviously what EA only really care about. What we need to do is continue to basically bombard, you know, in a good way, no hate, no anger, you know, no one being rude, but we just need to bombard everything saying about Battlefront 3. We need to get the word out, basically, that there is a demand for this game. You know, Battlefront 2 is still a brilliant game that I still love playing, and I know a load of other people still love playing, but we need a new Battlefront. We need a new multiplayer Star Wars game. It needs to happen, and it's not going to be a small task. It's going to cost a lot of money to develop, and, you know, you're going to have to look at some of the top developers that are going to be the ones that do it properly, because we need it to be done properly. But this game and this franchise deserves a multiplayer game. You know, it's crazy to me that it's not been in development. You know, as I say, I like the Jedi Fallen Order games. They're brilliant, but they don't scratch that itch, really. You know, they're great for what they are, but we need a multiplayer game. You know, we should really have a live service Battlefront game. You know, if I was to have my way, we would have that. We're a seasonal pass where every season, you know, there's a new cosmetic skins for all these different heroes. We could add new heroes seasonally, new maps, some new modes perhaps, you know, and we could also, you know, do content with the new Star Wars things that are coming out. You know, with Andor coming out, we could have had some Andor content. There would have been a lot of Empire stuff we could have been added. You know, we could have added Cassian Andor himself. You know, throughout the Mandalorian could have come in. Ahsoka could have been added to the game. I'm pretty sure the dev team actually had Ahsoka and Asajj Ventress. They were working on them towards the end of development, and unfortunately, you know, things had to get stopped because they cut ties with the game. there's so much they can do there. You know, I could sit here for hours and name the planets, the weapons, the vehicles that we can add, the modes we can add, the characters we can add, the skins for those characters we can add. There's just a wealth of things that this game could do, and you know, that's without Battlefront 3, which could be a major improvement, because this game did come out in 2017, and it's despite the fact that it is still a visually stunning game. I mean, we could have something truly special if only people would take note and look at what everyone wants, because it's clear that everybody really wants a new Battlefront game. And then despite the fact of how poorly Battlefront 2, you know, started out with the sort of pay to win and the loot box situation, the game still returned to a great place where it had a really good player base and a great team behind it. We just need to lock in, look at what we have, you know, look at what they didn't do right and what they did do right. And it's so easy. It just kind of does my head in a little bit that there's not even been talks of it. You know, we've had all these single player things and all these different types of games, which, you know, I'm not here to say, oh yeah, one, we shouldn't have one and we should have the other. We should have both, you know. I mean, Star Wars is a massive franchise, and you can have loads of different developers working on loads of different games and loads of different content. You know, I'm excited for the sort of XCOM like Star Wars game that was announced. You know, I'm excited for a Jedi Fallen Order game to come out, but we should have all of these things, you know. I mean, even things like the Squadron game, the Starfighter game, it's a great little game on its own merit, you know, but we just need all these different things pulling in the same direction. Hopefully, if everyone continues to keep up with this hype, keep pushing, keep saying everything, any posts, anything, always just chuck him hashtag Battlefront 3. We need it to just continue, because surely somebody will take note. I mean, everyone loves money, right? I mean, they're going to make massive money if they actually go through with it. And as I said, they can look at other games, they can look at the success of maybe free-to-play games and things like that. They don't have to go, oh yeah, we have to charge for this game. We don't have to do that. As I said, and I mean, to be fair, I would say I will still buy, if they said we're going to bring out Battlefront 3 and it's going to cost, you know, £80, I'm going to buy it. And then if they had seasonal passes, but they could even do things like free-to-play models, and look at how Fortnite do their stuff. But you know, whatever they choose to do, if they ever choose to do it, the fan base really deserves a good multiplayer Star Wars game that can continue to add content over the years with all the new projects that are coming out. There's just so much they can do, and hopefully they take note.